Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in with us. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Delfina and I am head honcho over at coachwellness.com. And we are recently putting together a YouTube channel and some other great resources for you guys. And one of the things that came to mind from that I got feedback on from my group, from my email list, was that you guys wanted to learn more about essential oils, specifically in the regard of how they can support your gut health. So I've invited two of my good friends, Jen and Julia. They're here with us today. Say hi, you guys.
Hey.
Hey, to chat with us about essential oils. They, like me, are also health coaches, and they have their own health coaching practices. Unlike me, they are complete experts in all things essential oils. And they're going to break down how those work for us, how they're going to help support our health around gut health, and how we can connect with those easily so that we can start healing or continue our healing if we've already done that. So I should also tell you, a little bit about how we met. We actually got to meet in person. In the online world, sometimes you only ever get to meet people online. But Jen and Julia and I, we actually got to meet in person a couple years ago now, right? I think.
Yeah.
At a mastermind in San Diego, California. We were fortunate enough to go to a mastermind with Sean Cruxton. He's a master podcaster behind two different podcasts called The Sessions and his older one called Underground Wellness. So we got to meet in person there as we were kind of all beginning our online businesses. And we've gotten to see each other grow and progress as we've taken our own directions in each of our own health and wellness interests. So, Jen, you live in...
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Texas, that's right.
Yeah.
Julia, you live in the East. You live in East Coast time, right?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. Okay, right. So we kind of have this little triangle going on. I love that. Well, why don't we get started? Instead of the normal question that everybody asks first, I'm going to ask that question second. And I'm going to ask a different question first, so we can kind of loosen up and make this feel really comfortable. Maybe even get some laughs, because as we all know, gut health can sometimes be a heavy subject. So I think that's one thing I love about essential oils. Bringing those to the table is it literally kind of lightens the mood around that topic, because sometimes it can be really tough. Like for those of us that have struggled, I've struggled. Jen, I know you've struggled. Julie, I'm not sure if you've been down that path. I hope not, but but it helps to lighten the mood a little bit. And so that's what we're going to do with this first question too. I'm going to ask you guys, and you are welcome to throw that back at me, by the way. So I want to know, what is your favorite song that you love to sing in the shower? So I know you've got one. What's that thing that you're just always humming in the shower?
You go first, Jen.
Okay.
On this one.
Man, this is hard. First of all, let me say I am a terrible singer, and I've had people tell me I'm a terrible singer. So I really don't sing out loud in the shower too much, but I definitely kind of sing in my head. I will say if I'm in my car by myself, I'll sing out loud, but
Yes.
Definitely all things Taylor Swift. I am a huge fan, even though I'm totally outside of that probably age bracket of her fans. It's kind of funny. I feel like me and my little 7-year-old niece like the same music. So, but what can you do? I love all things Taylor Swift. So I usually have one of her songs in my head. But I also really love just uplifting music. If I'm going to have words in my head, I'd like for them to be positive. And I have actually recently had a song in my head by Switchfoot. It's called Live It Well. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I like learning lyrics just to know that I like to know the words of songs. If I hate getting a song stuck in my head where I know like half the words and I'm just, it can't get, I can't get through it. So, actually I will share just some of these lyrics with you because I think they're really positive and uplifting. And, this is a band that, you'll hear on regular music stations as well as, Christian radio and things like that. But it just has really good positive words. It goes, life is short. I want to live it well. One life, one story to tell. Life is short. I want to live it well. Awaken my soul. Every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short. I want to live it well. I have one life. I have one love. I have one voice. And maybe that's enough. Because with one heartbeat and two hands to give, I have one shot, one life to live. And I just love that.
Wow.
I think it's just, it really resonates with me. And I think a lot of us can kind of be encouraged by that. So I've had that in my head like the past couple of days.
Seriously, that's a good one. I mean, that's some deep thinking in the shower. I like that.
Well, I'm definitely stealing that one. That is a good one. I'm looking it up as soon as we get off. So I have a 3.5-year-old and a 2-month-old. So my songs are very limited right now to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and You Are My Sunshine. Aww. But as you know, of most moms, like the only alone time you get is in the shower because literally you have somebody following you to the bathroom or like with you all the time. So I like my shower time and I like it to be quiet. So while I love to sing and I'm not good at it at all, probably the only songs that I'll start cranking out to is a little secret. My husband makes me, instead of gifts, most of the time he'll make me CDs, like mixtapes. You know how your old like middle school boyfriend, oh gosh, this is going to show my age. You know how we used to make those like not CDs, but cassette tapes with mixtapes and like way long time ago. So he now makes me CDs and I'm sure that they will be, eliminated over time as we're not using them anymore, but I'll crank up his CDs. I have this old boom box outside of my shower and I'll crank up his CDs while I'm in the shower. So anything that's on there, and I secretly love Christmas music. So those are kind of my go-tos.
That is so sweet. I love it. You made me think of when I was middle school and high school. One of my first jobs was mowing the lawn. I used to mow lawns for like lots of the neighbors in my area. That's nice. That's how my entrepreneurial spirit started. And so I had one of those Discmans. And I would, I was really into rap and hip hop around that age. So I'd put in whatever, mixtape CD I had. And I didn't have any like pockets in my pants that were big enough to hold the Discman. So it would be like blazing hot outside. And I would have on this little jacket that had these huge pockets in it just so I could hold that in there, listen to my music, and then mow the lawn, and I would be like dripping sweat afterwards. But I was like, hey, I got my music. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's funny that you reminded me of that. Well, I definitely am one of those people that sings in the shower, provided there's no one staying at my house,
Right.
Then I usually like tone down the weird a little for them. But I'm a huge Mariah Carey fan, so I usually have one of her songs stuck in my head. And she's got a song called Always Be My Baby, which I don't know that it's necessarily like uplifting because it's sort of one of those you broke my heart kind of love songs. But it is a great, always be my baby. I love that song, so I'm forever singing it like in the shower.
She has an excellent Christmas album, by the way.
She does.
She does. I never get tired of that one song, what's it called? All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yeah.
Right. I never get tired of that. Never ever. And trust me, I listened to it on repeat like a bazillion times because I worked at this grocery market a long time ago, and so we had all those the same music round and round for like 3 months.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, so now that you've told me intimately about your shower experiences, let's get a little bit, not more superficial, but let's get into how you guys came into this world of health and wellness. What brought you into this world of health and wellness, and specifically to essential oils?
Yeah.
I'll start with that one. So I kind of have always been in my husband and I have always thought naturally, and I was a dancer all throughout high school and college.
I didn't know that.
And that led me to cheer for the NFL. So when I left college, I immediately moved here to Nashville and cheered for the Tennessee Titans for 5 years. And so it just so happened that dance is a form, of physical activity. So it always kept me active. But I didn't necessarily have all the keys to like a good, strong, nutritional background. So when my husband and I got married, of course, we kind of naturally moved into that way because it just piqued our interest. And we started thinking about more so like our bodies. And of course, since I had to cheer for the Titans, the rumors are true. You have to be a certain weight depending on your body type. So I had to figure out a lot of things the hard way. And I did things oftentimes the hard way when it came to weight management. And sometimes it would come with ease and sometimes it would be extremely hard. And I would feel really deprived. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I am still starving, but I've already eaten up all my calories. Right. And of course I thought that it was being healthy drinking Diet Coke at the time. So,
that's not healthy?
I know, seriously. Yes, and 100 calories.
We're just kidding, people.
Remember that? I had it so wrong. And so after I left my 5-year stint with the Titans, my husband and I decided to have start our family, and I had my son Luke. And at that time, when I had him, I felt this overwhelming responsibility that I was responsible for how he turned out in life. And I wasn't going to let my lack of knowledge be the reason why he didn't have the health that I wanted him to have. So I went back to school at IIN, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition out of New York City, because I just wanted more formal knowledge and education, and because I wanted to raise him right. Really didn't intend to do anything with it. But once I got out of school, I felt like I have all these keys and I learned so much that I really couldn't keep it to myself. If I would have known this earlier, how it would have impacted my life in such a big way. And so I started health coaching at that time. And actually, after I had my son, I went back to cheering for the Titans. So I cheered for 2 more years and just finished last year. So I had a 10-year stint, 5 years on, 3 years off. And I actually coached women on how to make the team. And that's when my health coaching business picked up. And then 2 years back on the field. So how I came into essential oils was that I developed a program when I was health coaching, and I needed some vitamins to go along with it. And I had a real problem with finding vitamins, but I said, these vitamins are good, but don't look at any of their other stuff, right? Because they contain ingredients that you don't want to take. And I had a real problem with that because I want to be a believer in the company, but also the products have to be of good quality. Mm-hmm. And I was friends with Dr. Josh Axe, if you're familiar with him, and he actually recommended doTERRA vitamins to me. And if you know him or follow him, he formulates his own. And so I said, are you sure this is what I should look into? He said, absolutely. And if you haven't looked into essential oils, you really need to. And anytime he personally tells you to do something, you know better than to not do it.
Like,
because
okay.
you'll find yourself 6 months down the road. Yeah, you're right. So I looked into him, and then I started looking into essential oils, and it was great having him as a personal mentor to teach me about the oils and to partner with a company from the very start that was of the best quality and one that he had vetted out. So, so I was really fortunate in that case to have that partner and mentorship through that. And it's been a great journey ever since. And I know we're going to talk about that a little later, how it's impacted our clients and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I am real passionate now, not only to share the gift of health, but also of essential oils and how they can come into your life and affect it on a very natural, easy way. And Jen and I both are super passionate about making it easy for people, because it doesn't have to be intimidating or hard. And it's just a great little tool to have in your toolkit for better health.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize you were a dancer in high school and university. I didn't know that. I knew you cheered for the Titans, but I didn't know that you...
Well, I actually tried out for cheerleading in middle school and never made it. So I was never a cheerleader until I was a cheerleader in the NFL. I wish I could go back and find my middle school cheer coach and just say, hey, you know what? I never made your team. But, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. Yeah. And I truly did find my passion. So, no, Dale, I cannot sing, but I sure can dance. So,
you know what? You don't have to be good at everything. You just got to find the things that you're good at,
True.
True. And I'm pretty sure cheering for the Titans is like slightly better than cheering for your middle school team. So
Yeah.
then how about you? How did you come into this world of health and wellness and essential oils?
Yeah, so for me, there were a couple of big reasons that kind of led me down the path of natural health and wellness. So first of all, my previous life, I worked in healthcare industry, but kind of a different aspect. I was a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I sold medications to doctors. I sold diabetes drugs. I sold cholesterol medicine. I sold medications for, acid reflux and GERD and all sorts of things. And, at the time I thought what I was doing was helping people, and I was really, really passionate about it. But the more I worked in that industry and had conversations with doctors, I really began to see a missing link where, these doctors are truly trying to help their patients, but they don't have the time to really talk to their patients about diet and lifestyle, nor are they really trained on that in depth in medical school. And so I really saw that opportunity that really is not being addressed in the conventional medical world of, a healthy nutrition. What does that look like? And healthy lifestyle. But also, the other reason was really for my, I was experiencing my own health issues and not finding answers from doctors that were satisfactory to me. Starting in college, I started experiencing a lot of digestive problems after a round of antibiotics, and didn't really know what was going on. Didn't, relate it to the antibiotics at the time. I had no idea like what antibiotics were, what they even meant, how it affected the gut. A lot of us didn't know that at the time. And so I went through years, pretty much all of my 20s, dealing with, I was diagnosed with IBS, which is basically a diagnosis of exclusion, meaning there's nothing, we can't find anything wrong with you. We don't know what it is, and I tried tons of different medications. Nothing really helped. Over time, I was also put on birth control because my hormones started going out of whack. I was put on antidepressants, and all of these medications were masking symptoms and not really helping the issue. And it caused a lot of problems in the long run. And so I really, in my search for answers, after I'd exhausted pretty much every, medical route, pharmaceuticals, I did every test imaginable, I started looking into the role of food. That was where I first started. And it just kind of took me down the path of natural wellness. And I was reading book after book after book, and I just couldn't get enough. And so I decided to go back to school. And I also went to Institute for Integrative Nutrition with Julia and got my certification as a holistic health coach. And that journey definitely did not stop there. It's a continuing process. I'm continuing to learn more and more. I've definitely done a lot of continuing education, specifically in gut health and, how to properly go about healing your gut. And it's different for everyone. And so it makes it very, very tricky. But, definitely starting with diet and, learning what foods best suit you. And so you can start to heal your gut, but then lifestyle plays a huge piece. And I actually got into essential oils through that because, I've tried all the supplements out there. Some have helped, some have done absolutely nothing for me. But when I tried, real therapeutic grade essential oils, I noticed a difference. And I can use them for so many different things, whether it's for gut health, for stress, for sleep, for, whatever it might be, they're supportive. And the great thing is that they're so incredibly safe that, like Julia said, you don't have to be scared about it. It's very easy to implement and start using. And there's so many different oils out there that, if one doesn't work for you, there's another one to try. And so it's just such a great natural solution, and definitely one of the things that has helped me the most out of everything I've tried. So I am incredibly, incredibly passionate about it and love sharing oils with people and teaching people how to use them. So
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so grateful to have you guys both here because you have such a depth of knowledge when it comes to these essential oils and how they've helped heal you guys through your different health experiences and journeys and your own clients and stuff like that. It's something that I've always been super interested in, and I'm just not as well versed in it as you guys. So I'm learning so much, and I know I will continue to learn so much as I interview you guys about this. Speaking of that word natural, right? That natural is such a sort of bastardized term lately, right? Because it doesn't always mean what it sounds like it means. So we know that essential oils are natural, meaning they come from the natural world. But I think that we probably need to ask the question, what are essential oils and what does natural mean in this context? How are they made? How are they pressed? And what kind do you guys use specifically? So talk to me about those.
That's a great question, because most people, you're right, natural is a term that's just thrown out there everywhere, and it's really important to know what you're using. And you're right, most people don't even know what essential oils are. So essential oils are just aromatic compounds that are found on plants. So they can come from literally like a lavender plant. They can come from the root of the plant. So that actually vetiver oil comes from the root of a plant. They can come from a peel. So most of the citrus oils are actually coming from the peel of the citrus fruit rather than the juice on the inside. So just like when you're cooking, if you're cooking rosemary, for example, and you run your hand along that rosemary herb, and then you're going to smell your hand and it's going to smell exactly like rosemary. So what you've done is rosemary comes from the leaves, and you've actually popped those oil sacs that are just sitting right there on that leaf. And so the oil sacs are meant to protect that plant and give it life. So what you've done is you pop those oil sacs, and now the oil is on your hand.
So now, that's a much less concentrated dose of that rosemary essential oil, even just by swiping it like that?
Yep. So you're exactly right. So you're just getting the oil right there on your hand. But you're right. You're touching on a point that essential oils are heavily concentrated. So if you take the example of peppermint tea, so if you chopped up, your regular peppermint and made peppermint tea, it's going to equal 28 cups of peppermint tea to just one drop of peppermint oil. Okay. So you're taking a lot of plant property and you're distilling it down to just the oil. So it's either distilled, or if it's like a citrus that's on the peel, it's actually pressed out. The oil is pressed, but it is highly concentrated in the fact that it takes a lot of plant property to equal just a small amount of oil. And that's why when you're using your essential oils, go by the rule of thumb of a little bit often. So just like you wouldn't eat all of your food at the beginning of the day and expect it to sustain you all day. Yeah. You're not going to load up on all your essential oils and expect it for you to last. A little bit often is going to be a better rule of thumb than a lot at one time.
Okay. Awesome. So I know that they can also, do you have a bottle of essential oil with you so that maybe we can show the viewers, what a concentrated amount would look like?
Yeah. So here's a bottle of oil. This just happens to be Melaleuca. And this bottle is a 15 ml bottle, and it contains 250 drops in this bottle. So you're generally only using 1 to 2 drops at a time. And so this one bottle is going to last you a really long time, right?
Nice. Yeah.
There's also, I just happen to have one of our new roll-on bottles. So roll-on is just literally most of the time they're diluted, and you can just roll them on the area, So.
Awesome. I know that essential oils can also be used in a few different ways. I know that you can eat them, certain essential oils. I know that you can diffuse them and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of different ways that you can use them too. So can you talk about the different ways that a person could use them?
Absolutely. So there's 4 different ways you can use them. Aromatic is just what you think of like aromatherapy. So everybody's heard of aromatherapy. It's just literally a diffuser is a great way to use it. Add water, add a couple drops of your essential oil, and it's diffusing it into the air. I call your hands your portable diffusers. So you put peppermint for your respiratory system, 2 drops on your hands, rub them together, take a deep breath. That's aromatic use as well.
Nice.
Because you're breathing it in. Now, you have topical use, which is applying it to the area of concern. So when we talk a little bit more about like digestion with upset stomach, you're applying it to that area. So that would be topical use. There are a few oils that you always want to dilute, like oregano, clove, cassia, cinnamon, those types of oils. So always applying to the area of concern, or the bottom of your feet are great places to apply the oils. And then internal use. Now, I always like to preface this, and I know we're going to talk about quality, but you have to be careful about what oils you take internally. And in fact, most of the ones you pick up at the natural food stores literally have a warning on the side that say not for internal use, which usually is a big red flag to say, hey, there's something in here that's not pure. So always be cautious of internal use, but adding it to your water, a couple drops in your water, you can always make sure you're using glass, is a great use for internal use, or in a capsule. So say you don't like the taste of ginger or fennel, you can put it in a veggie capsule and take it just like you would your vitamin and still get the same powerful effects of essential oil, but you're not having to taste it in your water. And the last one is just DIY. A lot of people choose to do it-yourself products, whether it comes to face stuff or skincare or cleaning products. A lot of people use it for cleaning because it's so inexpensive and you're not getting the harsh chemicals.
Yeah, that's really cool. I am not a DIYer when it comes to like making my own product. I don't know why. I love to cook. I actually really like to build things. Like I've built my own coffee tables, and I've built quite a few things in my house. I don't know why. I'm not a DIY like skincare and that kind of thing. I think I'm just kind of a product junkie, and I like to try different. I'm like, hey, you're better at making this. I'll just buy it.
Yeah, I'll always say that. I'm like, if you've ever tried to make your own toothpaste and put it on one of those toothpaste tubes, it will drive you to drink. Like, I mean, and not that there's anything wrong with a glass of wine, but I'm just saying it is hard. So I do like making certain DIY. Like I love making my own roller bottles. Somebody just made me one of these.
I want
puff
one.
paint. See, love that puff paint, don't you?
Yeah.
Bring it back to the 80s. But I love making different, roll-on bottles and things. But toothpaste, I just stick to doTERRA's toothpaste because I love it. It can't be beat. And it doesn't give me a headache or require more oils to calm me down afterwards.
Like a roll-on bottle is manageable, but some of those other things like toothpaste or deodorant, I'm just like, but you are reminding me that I've tried, I don't know why, but I've experimented with so many different toothpastes. Like I said, I'm a product junkie. Like I like to support businesses that are doing awesome things. Yeah. And sometimes you get a good batch of something and sometimes you just don't. Like for instance, I bought this toothpaste. It was, it was like one of those loose tooth powder type things.
Oh yeah.
I won't mention the company because they're an awesome company and it's an awesome product. I'm not even a high maintenance person. And I usually don't fuss about products, but this one just drove me up the wall. It came in a container that like when I traveled with it, like all the clay and the stuff that was mixed in the toothpaste would like spill everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, no. And it's just like, it's a never ending bottle too. So I'm sitting there looking at it, like feeling guilty, like, come on, finish it, But my actual favorite toothpaste, it's not a toothpaste, but tooth cleaning product that I've ever used is an essential oils based one by Aura Wellness, which I love. Man, like I think I had the best mouth health I've ever had using that. And does doTERRA have something like that?
doTERRA has On Guard is a great blend. That's really good for your immune system and has clove oil in it. So it's great for oral health. So they have a toothpaste that they put out, which actually have several dentists that use them in their practice. Oh,
nice. So is that that blend that you're talking about is in the toothpaste, or you can just put it on a brush like as an essential oil and brush like that?
It is already infused into the toothpaste, so you don't have to add anything extra. However, I have some people that literally, if they don't have the toothpaste, they'll take their toothpaste that they're using and add the On Guard to it. Or some people prefer peppermint. Peppermint's also a great one to add.
Okay. I may have to try that because I didn't realize that.
One drop will do you.
Yes.
I bet.
All you need.
I know. So you talked to me about the different ways that you can bring essential oils into your life, using a diffuser. So aromatically, as you said, putting it into food, DIYing it and putting it on your body and stuff like that. So I know obviously health benefits are associated with each of them, but is there a reason why you might diffuse instead of drink something, or why you might roll it directly onto your skin as opposed to diffuse or drink something or something like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So aromatic use, so if you're talking about like an emotional support, aromatic use is going to be the best way to do that because of how it works with the body. Obviously, if have an area of concern, say maybe you worked out and you're really sore and your muscles are kind of achy, right? Applying it topically is going to get it right to that area quickly. So, so versus, aromatic use, you want to apply it topically to that area of concern. So it just depends on what you're dealing with. And yes, sometimes it is better to use it, topically or internally. The majority of the time, aromatic and topical use are going to be your first go-tos. And then internal use, which I know Jen has a lot of expertise in, especially when it comes to gut health on the internal side of things. But absolutely, internal use can be incredibly effective and it's great. And I do it on a daily basis, but you have to be careful of what kind of oils that you're using when you do take them internally.
Yeah. Awesome. I love doTERRA's cinnamon bark oil. I don't drink coffee very often because it sort of like doesn't agree with me the way that I wish it did. But when I do, I like it to be a little bit sweet. And so I put just a drop or maybe two in there, and it's amazing how sweet it becomes and cinnamony and delicious. You guys talked earlier about the quality. And I know in the world of health and wellness, we're always talking about quality, where like it matters that you buy 100% grass-fed versus just the supermarket stuff, Right. It really, really matters. And there's no difference here in this situation with essential oils too. But for those of us who aren't well-versed in essential oils, talk to us about what we need to look for in terms of quality. And especially, I know a special word that is used to describe doTERRA is that they're therapeutic grade essential oils. So talk to me about what that term means and sort of like top quality essential oils versus lesser quality essential oils and where we're going to find each of those, kind of look out for them. And I do have another question too, but I'll let you answer that first.
Okay. So the Cliff Notes version is, so if you're a foodie, you're used to, say, walking down the chip aisle and you see on a bag of chips, it says 100% natural and a picture of a farm, right? And people naturally think, oh, that's good for me, right? But when you turn it over, it's like, there is nothing natural about this bag of chips because no one governs the word natural. Well, that is the same way in essential oils of 100% pure. So when you go to the natural food store and you see your essential oils and it says 100% pure, naturally you think, oh, there's nothing else in there except for the essential oils and they're top quality, right? Even if it says organic on there. No one governs the word pure. So there can still be synthetics or fillers in there and it can still label it that way. So that's one thing you have to be super cautious of. And you just have to know the brand. So there's a couple of different essential oil routes. So you have your synthetic, which think of your lavender candles. It's going to smell like your essential oil. So it's not going to give you any therapeutic properties, right? Though it's not going to make you more calm, calm. The lavender is just going to smell like lavender. You have your food grade essential oils, which are meant to smell and taste like essential oils. So peppermint, York peppermint patty. The chocolate may give you some therapeutic benefits of eating delicious chocolate, right? But the peppermint is not going to have any tummy taming properties. It's meant to smell and taste like peppermint. And then you have your therapeutic grade oils, which are the most confusing, I feel like, because again, we talked about that 100% pure, and it can even use the word therapeutic on there, but there's no one governing that. So you have to know where do they source their oils? How much do they test their oils? Are there pesticides on their crops? Like all those different things. So when doTERRA came out on the market in 2008, their main mission was to create the purest essential oil. And to do that, they felt it really important to source indigenously. So we're the only company that sources 100% indigenously.
Okay.
So Dale, I know you know this. Like blueberries, if you get wild blueberries versus conventional blueberries, they can have 3 times the antioxidant score because wild blueberries, the soil's perfect and the environment's perfect. It naturally thrives. Same concept with your essential oils. If you go to the place it naturally thrives and grows wild, you're going to get the best therapeutic markers for those oils. And I need to know that. Jen and I work with clients on a daily basis, and we work with families, and we also educate people on how to teach on oils. And we have to know that when we give somebody an essential oil, that not only is it pure with free of synthetics or fillers, but we need to know that the chemical constituents are correct to do the things that they're looking for it to do. So they know whether or not their body responds to it. So that's really important. And so the indigenous sourcing is the big thing. And the third party testing is by far, another big reason that I choose doTERRA. And the third party testing is that even though we don't spray any of our crops and we know everything about our crops from seed to packaging, runoff water from neighboring farms, right? You can't control some of that. So we actually test our oils for pesticides that may have come off from runoff water from neighboring farms. So those things are tested, and then the chemical constituents are tested. So you just need to make sure the right chemical markers are within each oil. Peppermint's going to look far different than fennel when you look at the chemical composition. And so you need to make sure that that's all right. And that's what I love about doTERRA.
Okay. So unfortunately, like the word natural, pure is not regulated. So if you walk into a grocery store or your favorite health food store, even if they've, got that 100% grass-fed meat, because that term pure isn't regulated, they could be getting a bottle of stuff that could just essentially, pun intended, be scented like lavender and have a whole bunch of junk in it, as opposed to an actual true, small bottle like this filled with an oil that is actually going to benefit you and your health somehow. But according to doTERRA, they give pure the definition, but based on their actions. I don't know if they have it written somewhere, but based on their actions, pure for doTERRA means that they're sourcing indigenously. So like you said, wild blueberries, a lot more antioxidants than just regular store-bought. And that they're not only doing that, but they're paying attention to its testing even after it's harvested, and the chemical composition and how pure those batches are, if there's been any cross-contamination because of water or something like that. Did I get that right?
You did. And there are so many things that we don't even need to worry about with oils, right? I mean, you could go into depth of, like, Melissa oil has to be harvested and distilled within a 2-hour period. So like most companies wouldn't even stick to that, or even know if their stuff was harvested at the correct time, because they're dealing with a broker, right? So we deal directly with the farmer. So because you have to know all the ins and outs. So really, certified pure therapeutic grade is the standard that doTERRA created, because they didn't feel like there was any standard out there that actually met all the criteria that they were looking for. And Jen and I were just in Salt Lake City last week for our annual convention, and they actually have created technology to not only, you can take your bottle of oil that you have, and this will be live in just 2 months, and they have a website, and you can type in the lot number on the bottom, and you can actually get the testing that was done on just your bottle of oil that you're holding in your hand.
That's cool. That's
awesome.
really cool for us health freaks.
I know. Nerds like us.
Yeah, nerds like us. Oh my God, how pure is it? Totally would do that though. So tell me also, I don't know if you guys are like that, but I know other people are like this. I'm a sucker for good marketing. So even if I walk into a health food store and I see a little bottle of essential oil, I know on a logical level, I'm not going to buy it because if I use essential oils, I use doTERRA because I know everything that you've taught me, you know, this is what's going to heal you and to help you in some way. The other stuff is likely just going to smell good and might have some other junk in it. But tell us, you know, for the ones that don't meet a standard that is, you know, the standard of pureness. And what was the title that you said, the certified
Pure Therapeutic Grade.
Right. That don't meet, you know, for instance, doTERRA's certified Pure Therapeutic Grade qualifications. What might some of those other junky things that are in that essential oil bottle be? Because I think that maybe we don't understand kind of the severity of, like, even though this looks pretty and beautiful and natural and like holistic and, you know, all that kind of stuff, it's like sometimes the stuff sadly is so deceiving, you know? And then if you're like me and you're like, oh, but the bottle looks so awesome and pretty and it says it has this and that in it, you know, it can be really easy to deceive your own self, even if you know better. So I'd like to know, what are some of the other things that are known to be found in lesser quality essential oils that could be harmful?
Yeah, so they could have other filler agents in them. So they can have the fractionated coconut, any kind of oil that can be a filler that can literally be not the essential oil, but another oil to help fill it. So it's actually diluting the essential oil. There could be several different things in your oil. And I'm not saying that there's not other oils, like good oils out there. I'm just saying that when I use essential oils on my family, I am super busy. I am super concerned about health. And I like to know that I can trust in a company that does everything to the same standards. So not just one oil, they do it one way, and another oil, they do it another. Like, I want to know that they hold everything to the same exact standard. And I think that's a natural progression for people as they start on the health journey of, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to exercise more, I'm getting more clear on my health, I want to reduce my toxic load. So when I pick up an essential oil bottle, I need to know that it's not going to add to that toxic load, but it's actually going to help with my toxic load. And it's going to help eliminate those things. It's not going to have synthetics, because it can have synthetics in there, which are just a mirror image, right? Of your, it's just like other things that are mirror images of what the natural version is. But you know that when you have a mirror image of something, it doesn't carry the same weight and your body doesn't know what to do with it, right? So it's literally synthetic. So I need to know that it's gonna be the real thing, so it will help my body. So it's literally, a lot of times if it's the synthetic version, it's just a synthetic version of that. So it's the mirror image, just meant to smell, and that's the only thing that they can take away from that synthetically. They can't really get the smell, the taste, and the therapeutic properties, because you can't manipulate something that's natural to do exactly the same thing without, side effects.
Which is a big deal when it comes to gut health. Like, if you're already suffering from something, be it SIBO or Candida or other hormonal imbalances that are somehow tied to gut health, having those synthetics, as you said, load you in the negative direction as opposed to refuel you for the positive direction, that taxes your liver and that taxes a lot of the other systems that are already being overly taxed for whatever reason. So it comes down to that fine-tuning detail that you want to bring yourself back into balance. I don't like using the word balance a whole lot, but back into your center of balance, as opposed to wherever you might be, way off kilter. So I really love that you mentioned that. But speaking also, before actually we get into gut health and essential oils specifically, Jen, this one is probably mostly for you, and Julia, of course, chime in here. But let's talk a little bit about gut health in general and some signs of gut imbalances and issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So, gut imbalances can play out in a number of different ways and different symptoms, but I mean, the obvious signs are anything that's off with your digestion, okay? Are you experiencing constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gas, acid reflux, abdominal pain, food sensitivities? Any of those things are going to be, you know, obvious signs that there is an imbalance in your gut, something is going on. But they can also play out in non-digestive issues like skin conditions, autoimmune disease, inflammation of any kind going on in the body. A lot of times we need to look at the gut. Joint pain, depression, anxiety, adrenal fatigue, all of these issues, so often there's some sort of connection going on with the gut. You know, it always links back to the gut.
And sugar cravings too, right?
Oh, sugar cravings, absolutely. Because sugar cravings can be a sign that, you know, it could be blood sugar issues, which again, we need to look at the gut. It could be some type of infection or overgrowth of pathogen that feeds off sugar. So it's a lot of different things. But yeah, I would say most inflammation in the body, we need to take a look at the gut. So it's a, you know, it's a huge component. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know that we talked a little bit before about essential oils, specifically for the people who have gut issues that are related to motility. Let's talk a little bit about essential oils supporting motility.
Okay.
And what motility means.
Sure. So motility just means how fast or slow things are moving through your GI tract. You know, if your motility is too fast, you may experience diarrhea. If it's too slow, you may experience constipation. And I will say constipation is one of the most common things in our society today. It's, you know, one of the top reasons for doctor's visits, and women in particular. I mean, the majority experience constipation. And, you know, I think a lot of people write it off as being normal, or they just deal with it, but it's not normal.
No.
You know, ideally, you should be, you know, moving your bowels 1 to 3 times a day.
Yeah. Actually, can you mention what normal and average motility are?
Yeah. So in terms of what should be normal?
Yeah, like transit time.
Yeah, so food moves through your GI tract within 24 to 72 hours. That's pretty standard. And so ideally, you know, what is considered healthy is to, you know, have a bowel movement 1 to 3 times a day. Usually, you know, sometime in the morning, when, you know, either first thing when you wake up or after you've had breakfast. That's what's considered healthy by most people. There's some people out there that have excellent digestive function, and they are, you know, eliminating after every meal, which is great, in a very healthy way. You know, if you've got loose, watery stools and you're having, you know, 5 or more bowel movements a day, then we would say that's diarrhea, and that's on the other end of the spectrum, and that's not either.
Yeah.
So
poop can tell you a whole lot.
Poop can tell you a ton. And that's funny you mentioned that. I just wrote an article on my blog. I published it today, and it's all about that. It's called "What Is Your Poop Telling You?"
Nice.
So, so if you want to learn more about that, you can go to my website. But yeah, you know, and I think a lot of us, you know, through our diet, our lifestyle, our chronic stress, our bowels are not normal. And it can lead, if you let it go on long enough, you know, it can lead to a lot of other symptoms. And, you know, some people just experience constipation, but other people experience, you know, constipation with bloating and gas and just other uncomfortable symptoms. And so, you know, if that's something you can relate to, then definitely it's time to kind of get your gut in check and see what's going on. So, you know, there's some great essential oils that can help support both ends of the spectrum. I don't know if you want me to go into that right now. Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So that's one of the things I love about essential oils is that there's quite a variety of essential oils that can help with digestion and gut support, and all different types of gut issues as well. And many of these oils are adaptogenic as well, meaning they can be used to support whatever issue you're dealing with, whether you want to speed up motility or slow down motility. You'll see that some of the oils are the same because they really kind of adapt to the body and what it needs. And so they can work they work in symbiosis with the body and really help support exactly what it needs. And so they basically help your body regulate digestion. Okay. So if you are looking to speed up that motility, say things are pretty sluggish, okay, and moving slowly, then a few oils that are really helpful for that are rosemary, lemon, peppermint, marjoram, ginger, fennel, and orange. And all of these oils you can apply topically by just rubbing them on your abdomen in a clockwise direction. You may want to dilute it with a carrier oil, such as fractionated coconut oil or olive oil or jojoba oil. It makes it easier to apply to a larger surface area. So your abdomen is kind of large. So it just makes it easier to spread across your abdomen. It does not lessen the efficacy, but it just makes it easier for application. Mm-hmm. But you can also apply them just directly to your abdomen without diluting them. You can also take these internally. And I really like using oils internally for digestive issues because it will get into your digestive system that way. Mm-hmm. And so again, a little bit goes a long way. You do not want to use half a bottle of oil in one serving. That would probably make your digestive issues a whole lot worse. 1 to 2 drops, that's all you need, okay? Mm-hmm. And you can mix these oils in a couple ounces of water and shoot them back. That's what I usually do. You can also put them in a veggie capsule if you don't like the taste. But taking these oils internally, and again, I am talking specifically to certified pure therapeutic grade oils that have the research and science behind it supporting its internal use, okay? Mm-hmm. Not just any old oil.
Right.
Or make sure it's approved for internal use.
Yeah.
And the great thing
go chugging oils, guys.
Yes, please don't do that. And the great thing with doTERRA oils too is that they make it really easy for you to know if it's for internal use, because the bottle will have a supplement label on it if it is for internal use. So you don't have to question. It's very, very clear. And so those are some oils that are really good for, supporting a sluggish digestive system. Now, if you are wanting to slow down your digestive system, you are running to the bathroom constantly throughout the day and you need some relief, then peppermint, ginger, and geranium are really, really good oils for that. And you'll notice that peppermint and ginger I used in both situations. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned that some oils kind of have adaptogenic properties, and that's one example. So again, you can use these oils the same way as I just previously mentioned. And so in those specific purposes, those are some oils that are great. We also have a wonderful blend that I'll go into detail about that really supports anything digestive related. But in terms of motility, those are the oils that you could certainly start out with and see how they work for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, the number of people, as you mentioned, that have had issues, even if they're not having chronic issues, just that for those moments where, like, this is a common one, where you fly somewhere, and you're in a different time zone. So many people have gone through this. And all of a sudden you're constipated for 48 hours or something. That's a really common one, is to find that you're constipated after flying, taking a trip somewhere. So even just having these tools in your back pocket for those moments I think are really important, because otherwise it's like you get to wherever you're vacationing and you're like, all you can think about is how much you can't poop when you're on vacation, which is stressful. It's the opposite of vacation.
I know. And I love that you mentioned that too, because I love to travel, but I'm not going to lie, it does stress me out because of that. And in fact, Julia just mentioned we just got back from Salt Lake City. We had the doTERRA convention, and yeah, I mean the flight and the time change and just eating out and eating at off hours from what I'm used to, it screwed me up. I'm not, and I am so glad that I had my some of my digestive blends with me, because it really, really helped. Because otherwise, I would have probably been in bed most of the time, because I definitely I kind of went into a flare from that. Unfortunately, when it comes to digestive issues, I'm more of a tough case. So while a lot of people can, don't experience stuff on a daily basis or can, heal from just diet, I'm definitely a tougher case. So I still experience some issues when my routine is kind of messed up. and especially flying definitely affects me. So I'm glad to have the support that, that the oils really offer.
Yeah. And you're not the only one. So many people, I mean, of course, the other factors, what you're putting in your body, what you're putting on your body, the stress, the eat, move, think of it, right?
Yep.
As we say in Coach Wellness, they all matter, but it doesn't mean that once you learn this piece, you're perfect with it all the time.
That's
or once you learn, it's this constant ebb and flow and figuring out how to deal with the imperfect situations or those on the fly situations. How are you going to deal? Because you're always, especially as an adult, that's part of being an adult is dealing with stress, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that you mentioned that as well. And this is also, for anybody out there listening and tuning in, this is also why most of us have come into health and wellness, is because we ourselves have struggled in some way, and we're not these perfect people. We usually have to work a little extra hard to keep our own selves at the kind of health that we want to be at. So we can run our businesses, we can take care of our kids, we can, be there for our friends and family and make an impact, spread this kind of message that you guys are spreading, for instance. So that's just, I feel like a lot of people look at me or look at us and they're like, oh, you're a health and wellness person, like you're like, wow, and it's just like, well, sure. I have my skill set of mastery, just like you do in whatever you've chosen. Right. But it doesn't mean we never slip up. What it does mean is we're really good at, we have a really good toolbox to talk to. And we freak out a lot less when those flares happen and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you mentioning that, because sometimes also what we find in this world of the online space, just in general, is this very, oh my gosh, forget that, like sort of spray painted, picturesque and perfect image of what health should be or what life should be or how a person lives and stuff like that. And so it becomes really hard, I think, for a person who, isn't in that world, but is struggling with something, to identify like, oh, I can do this too, Sometimes the bar seems like it's set so high and so far out of reach. So I always appreciate that honesty and authenticity from you guys. You talked to us about some essential oils that help with motility. So I heard ginger, I heard geranium, right? I heard peppermint. I think I heard orange. And talk to me about your favorite ones for supporting and restoring gut health. So that was specific to motility, and this is a little different.
Yeah. So using oils for gut health, and we're just going to say digestive health in general, there is a blend that doTERRA makes. It is just one of my favorites. And I was so glad to have this with me on my trip because it really, really helped, really helped me so much. And the blend is called Digestin, and it is our digestive blend. It's designed to support healthy digestion and really support any type of gut symptoms you might be experiencing, any type of discomfort, abdominal pain, bloating, motility issues, whatever it might be. The oils in this blend have been very well studied for their ability in balancing the digestive system and in soothing digestive ailments. There's actually a good number of studies out there, even on PubMed, where you can research all the different clinical studies that have been published. And there's a lot that have been done with essential oils. And these oils that are in this blend have a lot of studies behind them showing their efficacy. And so this blend contains, I'll just run through the oils and kind of explain what all of them are good for. But the blend contains ginger, and ginger has a very calming influence on your digestive system. You may be familiar, like if you ever experience car sickness or nausea, that people will offer you ginger ale, and that's why, because ginger is very calming. It helps reduce feelings of nausea and motion sickness. Peppermint is very anti-inflammatory. It's very soothing and cooling, and it supports a variety of digestive ailments. Peppermint is probably one of the most studied oils, when you look through the literature, and just has shown tremendous benefit in a lot of digestive ailments. Tarragon has been shown to reduce gas, spasms, nervous or sluggish digestion. Fennel helps support the liver and may also balance hormones. Really, really supportive to gut function. Caraway helps reduce spasms and any bad gut bugs that might be present, any type of pathogens. It also helps with indigestion and gas. And coriander is very anti-inflammatory. It's antispasmodic. It helps with indigestion and gas and helps regulate motility. And then anise helps calm and strengthen the digestive system. So digestin is a blend of all of these amazing oils, all packaged into one bottle, so it's really easy to use. And I really like using digestin a couple of ways. You can use it topically, again, just applying it over your abdomen in a clockwise direction. That is very soothing and very supportive, but when my gut is really struggling and I need some like really fast support, I take it internally, one to two drops in water. You can also put it in a veggie capsule, but for me, taking it internally is a pretty fast acting way to get relief. And so I really enjoy using it that way in those more urgent situations.
And here's a question that may be more so geared towards Julia, but is something like, are any of these oils, but especially one like that, can that be used on children or even on babies if they're, if something's going on with them, if some food didn't settle well or, some other digestive issue is going on?
Yeah. So when you're talking about use on even like the elderly and children, you just want to think about diluting the oils. So you can mix up, we actually have a roller bottle that is digestin and it's already pre-diluted with actually coconut oil. So I love using that on my little one. So literally my son knows that when his tummy isn't feeling well, he asks for his oils. And
wow.
I will take the digestin and make a little Mickey Mouse on his stomach. And so he'll actually put it on himself now. So it's a great way to use the oils. And, it's very inexpensive. So not only, and I know he's getting something healthy that's good for him and that is natural, but also, 2 drops of digestin, if you're using the straight digestin oil, is only going to be 24 cents, and comparing that to something that I would have used, as an adult, it's going to be very inexpensive.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't realize that, when you do the math and calculate it that way, I didn't realize it was so cheap for something so potent and powerful, and proven to help. Now, could you also use that on your little girl? You have a baby and she is 3 months, 4 months?
She is 2.5. Yep. So when
2.5 months. Okay.
Yeah. So when you have like a small infant, usually aromatic is going to be the best use with them. And of course, it all depends on a lot of different factors. So I always encourage people to talk with their pediatrician. But actually, the pediatrician I go to uses doTERRA essential oils. So I can actually email her and she gives me information on what to use on her. And of course, you always just heavily dilute when you're using it on small children. And there's certain ones that you don't necessarily want to use on the infants, but aromatic use is really the best way to use it on children that small because they receive a lot of benefits from just the aromatic use of the oils too. But
so something you could even turn on like while they're sleeping, napping, or sleeping at night or something.
Exactly. You can diffuse it at night, and you can diffuse all sorts of things, so it doesn't just have to be for sleep, but for like immune support. Those are some good oils to use for immune support. And I do use oils on her topically, but really aromatic use gets because they're so small, it's the best probably use for them.
Yeah. Cool. That's good to know. I feel like there's always different recommendations for like vitamins and supplements. And I think those are very much talked about. But essential oils, they're quite different in some senses than just than other supplements that come prepackaged in capsules and stuff like that. And so you don't often you hear about essential oils in, like you said, the DIY products for adults and stuff like that, but you don't as often, I feel, see it for like kid stuff or baby stuff. So I just wanted to dispel any fears that some of our listeners might be having about that, because I mean, these things are truly so, as you said, certified pure. Am I getting this right? Certified.
Yeah, you got it. Pure
grade essential.
And I mean, I'll even give we have a touch line, and I will give those as baby shower gifts because they're such a good use for them, right? And so the main thing when you're talking about kids is that you just want to make sure that you're using a very, very pure oil. That's why I'll only use doTERRA, for internal use, but I'll only use doTERRA because I don't want anything harming my kids. That's the whole reason that I got into this natural space is because I wanted to better my kids' health. So, so that's why I'm so particular about what I put on them, and I'll only use doTERRA oils on them. But yes, right now I'm using for her, she has little, stuff on her head. So I want to use coconut oil with that lavender to help soothe that skin on her scalp. So,
all right. So straight from mama's mouth, you can use it in some regard for everybody. That's really cool. We've talked motility. We've talked your favorite essential oil blend for supporting gut health in general. Something that I feel a lot of people don't realize is that fatigue and stress, adrenal fatigue, better known as now as HPA axis dysfunction, but we'll just keep calling it adrenal fatigue because that's easier. They are directly correlated to gut issues. And I feel a lot of people don't know that. So I want you to talk to us about using essential oils to support adrenal dysfunction and stress, as a person who may be also having gut issues.
Awesome. No, that is such a great question because so often the two go hand in hand. So it is so important to support a healthy stress response while you are working on healing and supporting your gut at the same time. And, many of us this day and age, we're under some level of chronic stress because we have a million things on our to-do list and we are trying to get our kids from place to place and, get through, the day at our job and all of the meetings, and then we deal with traffic, and then we're dealing with all of the, electronic devices that we're on 24/7. And then if we're dealing with a physical issue, that's adding stress as well. And so over time, that stress will start to wear your body down. And so, stress and adrenal fatigue, they're so important to manage because, that chronic stress will wear down your immune system and it definitely impacts your digestive system. So, chronic stress can cause you to get sick more often, and it also makes you more prone to infections. And just in general, it's going to cause inflammation in your body. And just to kind of explain, not to go down this whole path, but when you are under chronic stress and it affects your HPA axis, two of the hormones we're really looking at are cortisol and DHEA. And those two hormones have a tremendous impact on gut health. Cortisol is one of your main anti-inflammatory hormones. And so when it is out of balance, either too high or too low, you are going to have an increase in inflammation. Okay. And DHEA really protects the immune system and the gut from infections and is just protective overall to your body. So when those hormones are off and out of balance, then it is going to exacerbate your gut issues and weaken your immune system even more. And so, in regards to digestion, when you're chronically stressed, oftentimes your body is not in what's called the parasympathetic state of your nervous system, and that state is required for digestion. So when you're under stress, your body is operating in a sympathetic dominated state, and that's that fight or flight response. And our bodies are designed to kind of alternate between sympathetic and parasympathetic and pretty much balance each other out. But more often than not, we're living day in and day out in a sympathetic dominated state. And so we're not in that parasympathetic state enough to really digest our food. That the parasympathetic state is rest and digest. That's when your body has a chance to digest. And so if you're not allowing your body to be in that state, then you're probably going to have gut issues because you're not digesting well at all. Mm-hmm. And so it puts a huge, huge burden on your gut. And so in addition to supporting gut health through diet and stress management and essential oils and all that good stuff, you also want to support your stress response, your parasympathetic state, and support your adrenals. Mm-hmm. And you can do that with oils. And obviously, like, lifestyle is going to be incredibly important too, like implementing daily stress management activities. But using oils in combination with that is going to be even more supportive. So some oils that are supportive for, adrenal function is rosemary and basil, and you can apply those topically over your adrenals. Your adrenals are located, they're two tiny glands located right above your kidneys, so you can just apply those oils to your back, just above your kidneys. And then also, another good oil to use that helps support the parasympathetic nervous system is lavender. Lavender is extremely calming. It helps relieve stress. And so diffusing lavender, when you get home from work or at night before bed, or taking, a nice Epsom salt bath with a few drops of lavender in the bath, or, applying lavender to the bottom of your feet before bed. Those are all great ways to use lavender to support the parasympathetic nervous system. And, if you use it before bed, it's going to support healthy sleep as well. So those are a few ways that you can support that stress response and support your adrenals while you're supporting gut health. And then, of course, supporting your emotions is vital. And essential oils really offer great emotional support. And we actually teach an entire class on that as well. We could spend a whole other hour discussing essential oils and emotional
Don't worry.
support.
I will invite you back.
Okay, awesome.
We'll talk about that another time. But even just that, I think, opens a very big window for a lot of people.
Great.
That how you're feeling down here, right, is very much related to how you're feeling up here, and vice versa, right? It's this feedback loop that kind of works in all of these directions, right?
It totally is. Yeah. And when you're dealing with any kind of physical ailment, whether it's digestive related or something else, and you're experiencing discomfort or pain, that's going to make you stress out. It's hard not to be anxious about that when you can't find relief, right?
Yeah.
So it's a vicious cycle, because, a lot of times you may be, anyone that's listening out there, you may have been diagnosed with IBS or some sort of digestive condition, and your doctor may have said, reduce your stress. Okay, as if stress is causing it. I wouldn't say stress is the cause. It usually is not, but it makes it worse for sure. And so, it's a vicious cycle, because you're like, I can't be stressing out, but then you don't feel good and it's making you stress out. So what do? So you have to support it all.
Yeah.
For all body systems.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like that essential oils can be used to manage a few different kinds of stress, because you've got the emotional stress, which is, I think, where people kind of stop, and they're like, when they think about what stress means, they're like, oh, it's that like feeling in a tizzy, like I'm going to have a nervous breakdown kind of feeling. Right. And we typically don't know we're stressed until we're like freaking out,
Right.
But then there's also, as you mentioned, maybe in different words, but the biochemical stress that goes on the inside, when we're dealing with like parasites or candida or SIBO or things like that, or we're, taking in food that we're sensitive to or allergic to and we don't know it, those create a stress on the digestive system and the organs and everything that's helping to process that. And then there's the musculoskeletal stress that you also mentioned in different words. If you're suffering from an injury, or if you've been in some sort of accident and you broke a leg or something like that. So I really like that you broke that down for us and are, again, kind of painting this holistic, connected picture, as opposed to, I feel, what a lot of us see, these puzzle pieces that for whatever reason they exist, but like don't connect.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for breaking that down. I love that. I want to talk a little bit about the financial component. So most people I think are different than me in that when I'm excited about something and I'm charismatic, I'm like, let's go, let's do it. Boom. Like I'm buying it. I think that's, something good about me. But also something that can work to my detriment as well. I can be overly charismatic and just like kind of be impulsive and boom, go. But for people that aren't like that aren't impulsive, and may need a different kind of analysis of a situation like this where they're truly considering switching up their vitamins and their supplements, their foods, maybe even some of the products that they use on their body, and stuff like that. Like we had mentioned toothpaste and stuff like that. When they're switching things up, I know that there are ways that they're saving money by actually using these very pure therapeutic grade essential oils. Can you break that down for us better?
Yeah, so like what I mentioned before when we were using the digestion on your stomach and applying it topically, it's only 12 cents a drop. Every oil is going to be a little bit different in cost depending on, how strenuous it is to make the oil. But if we use the example of digestion, since we are talking about gut health, it's 12 cents a drop. So if you're using 2 drops at a time, like what Jen said she used last week when she was, taking it in her water, that's 24 cents, which is going to be a whole lot different than what you're used to taking. And oftentimes whatever else that you were going to use, you're only going to use a little bit of it. You're going to pay that amount and it's going to expire, which is when you're talking about essential oils, the shelf life of the essential oils are long lasting. So you're going to be able to use them and it's going to be cost, efficient when you're using it. And also when you're talking about the DIY things and putting those things together, I always say take little baby steps. It's not like you're having to throw everything out all at once and you're going to redo it all at the same time. So I always suggest starting with what you're going to make up like your medicine cabinet out of, the things that you're going to use, on a daily basis, but also maybe 1 or 2 oils that you're not going to use very often. But when you need it, man, you need it. And you can't, like for example, oregano, it usually means you're under the weather and I cannot wait 2 days for shipping for it to get to me like I need it right now. So usually that's what I suggest people start off with is, some just basic oils. And the great thing about essential oils, and especially doTERRA, is the company structured in a way, is they knew that people needed help and one-on-one help. So that's what Jen and I do is, I think the worst thing in the world is when people get essential oils or they buy a starter kit and they come to a class, right? Because I travel and teach all over and they come to class and they get, like you said, Del, I'm really fired up. I'm ready to use these essential oils. And then you get it in the mail and you're like, wait a second. I know that she said, use lemon in my water. I know digestion on my tummy, but what else? And so it really allows us, for me or Jen, to hop on the phone with you in a more personal setting. We call us our free wellness consult. So when you get a kit, we're going to hop on the phone with you and we're going to walk through like your diet and your lifestyle. And especially since we come from a health coaching background, we're more able to dive in a little bit deeper with you and say, okay, now pick up this bottle. This is how you're going to use it. So you can have it in front of you and know particularly what you're going to use it for your particular concerns. So I think that is really invaluable because while it is more cost efficient to use the essential oils, getting the personalized care and attention of learning how to use them for your particular needs, I think is like the invaluable part of using
them. There's a huge supportive community around this. When you have questions, like you said, you can attend a class. You can become a consultant yourself or make friends with other people that are into this too, so that you can continue supporting your own usage of it without being afraid, that you're doing it wrong or something like that. And also, I don't know if you guys happen to know how many drops are in any given bottle, because I know there are some that are different sizes, but the bottles that I've had, I have some bottles that I purchased 2 years ago. Mind you, I don't use them every day, right? But I use them as needed. You guys have taught me some ways that I can use them and stuff like that. And even the ones that I do use every day, 1 drop a day from your bottle of like lavender oil, that's one that I use really often, you're still going to have a lot of lavender oil at the end of the month. That's going to last you like a good 2 or 3 months. And you seriously do not need more than a drop, maybe 2. Like a simple thing I like to do is, put a couple drops on my finger and then massage my temples, or like I'll give my husband a a temple massage or something like that. And it's just like, I mean, it lasts for a very, very long time. Whereas not that we're speaking badly against supplements, because essential oils are a supplement of sorts, right? And there are plenty of other supplements that are absolutely wonderful. But a lot of times, you do buy a bottle and it costs you $40 or $50, and it is done at the end of the month, and you have to replenish and stuff like that. So again, it depends how much you're using per day and stuff like that. But I find that they last me quite a long time. So we've been going for a long time there. Before we kind of wrap things up, there's a question that I really want to make sure not to skip. I feel like it's a really important one. I know that Dr. Axe is a huge supporter, and actually, Julia, he's the person that got you involved and inspired you, that he's a huge supporter of essential oils when it comes to supporting gut health and health in general. So I love seeing that. It's not what I commonly see. Sadly, I wish I saw it more, but I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think it would take to have more hospitals or more physicians getting involved in using essential oils in their practices with their clients as a tool for supporting healing?
Yeah. So I think that it's actually becoming more mainstream as we start using essential oils, as there's more studies being done on essential oils. I think a lot of people are starting to look to them, and the more people start asking about more natural options, the more that the physicians and the medical, advisory boards are going to pay more close attention to them. But in fact, they're used quite a bit if you start looking. So PubMed.gov is where I always suggest people, go to look at the actual true research that's been done by them. And then I also like to talk about, just here in Nashville, I already mentioned my pediatrician. They use the oils, they diffuse them in the office. They also give me good recommendations as, when I email in or I'll go in for a visit, which we rarely ever have to do. And Vanderbilt University is a leading medical university here in Nashville, and their hospitals actually use doTERRA oils. They only use doTERRA oils. They started with just a study to reduce stress and anxiety with the nurses in the ER. And it was so well received several years ago that they started diffusing throughout the hospital in several different departments. So recovery rooms, pre-op rooms. I actually had a nurse attend one of my classes recently. She works in the operating room, and they will bring out the peppermints when they have like a high bacteria, like surgery that they're dealing with a lot of bacteria. And it was particularly dental that she works mainly in. It comes with a kind of a nasty smell and odor that makes them a little nauseous when they're operating. So they all cheer when they dot peppermint on washcloths and hang them around the rooms to help the nurses and the doctors throughout the medical procedure. So I thought that was really inspiring. And Jen and I, like we said, we just got back from convention. They had an entire physicians panel up on stage answering questions about how they use them in practice. They actually literally took the bottle of oil and took a drop internally right there on stage. And John Hopkins we got a keynote speak from John Hopkins University about how they're using essential oils and using them as studies. So we got a lot of great things coming down the pike, and really one step at a time. A lot of people are starting to look at essential oils, but I ask people to be patient, with their doctors, because a lot of we have fantastic medical care here in the States, and I am not opposed, to medicine like that. If I get in a car accident, please take me to the ER, right? But a lot of them don't have training on nutrition, from one side of it, because that, but also on essential oils. It's just not something that they commonly cover in medical school. So, but a lot of people are seeking out that information, and they are doing some powerful studies on it. And I think we'll start seeing those being published in a big way in the future. So that'll be really helpful.
That's awesome. And what a cool story about the nurse you mentioned who's using the peppermint essential oil, in the hospital. And
she did not even tell me that until after the class. So I didn't even know she was at Vanderbilt or she was a nurse, but after the class, she came up and told me. So, yeah.
That's so cool. That's really, really cool. Well, if people wanted to get their hands on doTERRA essential oils, or they wanted to participate in educating more people about essential oils and their health benefits and stuff like that, what are some of the ways that they could get involved?
Yeah. So Jen and I work with essential oils, and 80 to 90% of the people that come to us for essential oils are just looking at them for their personal use and for their use in their family. So we can absolutely connect you with a wholesale account, just like Sam's or Costco, so you can get those oils. And we have, options for specials and things like that we always continue to help people with. And you get our personalized attention. So we have those free wellness consults with you guys if you choose to go that route. And again, that's the majority of the people that come to us for oils. We do have a small percentage of people that like to share the oils. So maybe it's just they used them on themselves and found such a great response that their mom comes over and their head's pounding and they can't help but to say, wait a second, I have something for you. Don't go anywhere. So if they find themselves naturally sharing, we like to help them in that capacity, and they usually end up getting their oils paid for free. But if they want to become an educator, we're very passionate about that. We have people from all walks of life that now educate and teach people on essential oils, and we personally train and mentor them. So if that's something somebody's interested in, we are definitely happy to come alongside them and help. We have a fabulous team, and we're rooted in education. So we really like to pour into people in a big way as far as the education, but also mentorship as well. So those are a couple of the options, and I know you can email Jen and I personally. Just make sure that they tell us that they're a part of your tribe, Del, and we'll make sure and give them a free consultation to figure out what they need. And then I know Jen has some really exciting things coming up, particularly with gut health that she has next week.
Yeah. Jen, tell us about that. You have a gut health webinar coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. Y'all, I'm so excited about this webinar. So it's called Gut Restore with Oils and More. And so in this webinar, we are just going to dive even deeper than we did today on how you can use essential oils for all things related to gut health. And so there are 2 day and time options to attend this webinar next week. It's next Tuesday. I think that's the 27th. Is that right? 27th at 11 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah, that's right.
Or Thursday, the 29th at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And so there's a couple time options for you to attend live, which I encourage you to attend live, because we'll definitely have some live Q&A, and then some pretty cool bonuses at the end. But if you can't attend live, then go ahead and sign up, and you will get the replay sent to you so you can listen to it at a more convenient time. But I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be a really fun and informative session. I think you'll walk away with a lot of great knowledge.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, guys, if you listen to just how much Jen knows, today, imagine how much she's going to pack that webinar with awesome information for you guys. So I'll put that in the show notes afterward. But do you know the link off the top of your head?
No, it's like a string of letters and numbers. But
okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we put it in the show notes then for anybody who wants to sign up for that, going on again 2 different times next Tuesday. And also because Jen and Julia they just love me so much, and they love us, and they're so passionate about educating about essential oils and bringing health back into, your code to wellness, that they've decided they wanted to do something really fun with me. We're putting together a giveaway, and 5 names will be drawn, and the 5 people that win, they will win one of Jen and Julia's Gut Restore essential oil packs. And so that's going to include, correct me if I get this wrong, but it's going to include peppermint oil, a sample of peppermint oil, a sample of lemon oil, and a sample of the Digest Zen that Jen and Julia were talking about. They rub it on their bellies or their kids' bellies when they're having digestive issues. And that'll also come with a little, what's the name of that book you told me about?
It's called a Modern Essentials book. I've got one right here. I'll kind of show it to you.
Oh,
so
perfect.
It's just a little mini Modern Essentials book, and this book is such a great resource. You can look up specific oils and see what that oil is good for in terms of health ailments and exactly how to use that oil. Or you can look up by health condition and see what oils are supportive for that and exactly how to use the oil. So it's really, really great resource.
Yeah, super valuable. So for anybody that wants to enter into that giveaway, there's about 4 steps you need to follow. Basically, go over to my Facebook group. So that's Code to Wellness, Feeling Damn Good in Your Own Skin. You can find that very easily if you just search for it on Facebook. Otherwise, the direct link to it is www.codetowellness.com/community. It'll take you straight to the page. It's a private group, so click join and I will then approve you. When you get accepted, look for the pinned post that says Gut Restore Essentials giveaway, and you'll see directions on just what you need to do in order to enter the giveaway. So make sure you read that post, you follow the directions, you'll be all entered and stuff, and hopefully you will win. But 5 people, again, will be drawn, and we will let you know if you're a winner. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and I really appreciate you guys gifting these 5 little gifts. If people want to reach out to you guys directly, can you give us your websites?
Yep, absolutely. So my website is my name. It's jenbroyles.com. And that's where I have my blog as well. So you can, read all about gut health and essential oils on my blog. So yeah, feel free to please visit my website. And if you can also contact me through my website too. There's a contact link. So I look forward to connecting with you.
Awesome.
My website's the same, my name, julianicholson.com, and it does have a contact button, so you can contact me and reach me directly anytime.
Perfect. Yeah. So for anybody, so I'll put those in the show notes for people, but for anybody who knows right off the bat that you guys want some of the doTERRA oils, please reach out to Jen and Julia immediately. And, and what was the other thing I was going to say? Or if you're interested in becoming an essential oils educator as well, they can help you figure out, how you can do that as well. So thank you guys again so much for being here. I really appreciate everything that you've taught me and taught us, anybody who's watching and listening. And I'm super excited for this giveaway, which will be up tomorrow. And just thank you again. I can't wait to have you back for the emotional one.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Del. This was so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Del. It was great to connect.
All right.